Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final round of the SBM Installations GT3 Championship here in association with Jack Ashton Racing. For the last 5 weeks, we have been racing GT3 machinery for 40 minutes here on a Sunday afternoon, and it's time for the final one in our season. Round 5 here from Spa. The sun is out, and we are ready for the last round. Myself, Ewan, and Tim Cunningham will be taking you through the final race of the season. James is elsewhere. I think he's watching his son drag racing or something like that in the UK somewhere. So we're down on James today, but we've got Jim Cunningham instead for this final round of the series, and very pleased to be here once again. It's good to be alongside you, Jim. Looking forward to this one here at Spa. GT3 at Spa's perhaps the most well-used combination, I would say, in all of high racing. Actually, it is a circuit you'd imagine these drivers will have a lot of experience on. These cars they've had experience in now because we've been racing them for the last 5 weeks, and we're pleased to be back for the final round. What should be an exciting final race of the season, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. And oh, by the way, it's good to be here with you. And yeah, most popular track in all of racing, probably. Everybody loves it, and a great place to finish out a season. So I'm excited to be here and watch some of the action, which is probably my favorite car to drive as well.
It is a very, very popular machine, that's for sure. We've got nearly 20 in the field again here today, which is good to see. Very good afternoon to everyone who's watching along at home. Apologies if you turned up an hour ago and we're expecting a race. But we, of course, have had the clocks go forward in Europe here this weekend. And so the start time remains 11:45 GMT, which we're not using in the UK anymore. It's BST now. And so we're slightly off compared to everybody else. So it is, yes, it is a 1:15 start time this time around for us in UK time. I'll say good afternoon to everyone who's watching along. George Kusfantelos is supporting George Metakos, who is in the race here today once again. And we were watching very keenly last week in the action. He's currently 13th in this qualifying session, by the way, which is just about to draw to a close. Looks like Tommy Patero has taken the pole position, but that might not mean that much around here at Spa. You'd imagine it could be, well, not easy, but it could be at least possible for one of these drivers to really work their way up through the field here over the course of this race.
Yeah, I think this is certainly a track that you don't need to qualify up front to be competitive at. But, yeah, the benefit of qualifying up front is, of course, you have a better chance of missing some of that early chaos that can happen, especially going up through Radion and up through there, and down to Kimmel Straight. And, so other than that, I think if you could certainly move your way forward from mid pack and even a little further back. Gotta just be patient here and let things settle out a little bit.
We will see how we get on as the drivers are getting gridded up now just before the pit path chicane. Let's have a look at the starting grid. Ready for the final round of the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship. It is Tommy Patero who's taken the pole position. Here he's the championship leader coming in here, by the way. We'll go through that in a second. He's alongside Joel Singleton with Ian Knox and Matt Warner on row 2. Javier Roman is doing his first race of the season in the final round. Chad Henson alongside him with Valdes Vansavicius and Valdemar Marcha on row 4. Gaetano Cesare is 9th ahead of Steve Webb, our series sponsor this season. CJ Walford and Nicholas Green are on row 6 together. George Metakos is 13th ahead of Trey Lambrecht, with Ben Mitchell from the Australia NZ region in 15th ahead of Andrew Ogley. Wilden Petkovic is next ahead of Carl Cookton on row 9. Peter Ferraro and Eric Orchin have not qualified, but they look like they're going to race. At least Orchin is onto the grid already. Hopefully Ferraro will do the same in that McLaren. In terms of the championship standings, Tommy Patero is leading the way right now by just 4 points over Ian Knox. Chad Henson is in third place with Valdes Vansavicius. Nicholas Green rounding out the top 5, and Matt Warner, probably the last driver who's got a realistic chance of winning this title. Not only the race points count in this series, of course, but there are also a number of bonuses given out by by Jack, so we're not going to be able to call a champion over the line here this afternoon. We'll try and announce that to you before the end of the day, because Jack is going to come and talk to us again about the season it's been here in the GT3 Championship, which we've very much enjoyed here on the JPB YouTube channel here every Sunday afternoon in March to enjoy the GT3 racing. Well, the pace car is about to pull away, and the half formation lap will begin in a few moments' time. There it goes. Pace car away with Patero and Singleton on the first row, just in behind. It is the final race of the season. Jim, lots to play for still, lots to ponder. If you're a championship contender, especially like Tommy Patero, who's gotten his afternoon off to the best possible start.
Indeed, he has, setting it on the pole, and by a reasonably comfortable margin. So we'll see if how that goes for him. But of course, starting up front and being the championship leader, that's a great way to start your weekend for sure.
By the way, in the background, I saw Steve Webb just doing a bit of weaving to get some tyre temperature in the pit pass chicane. Believe he went straight into the side of one of the Ferraris as he was weaving around. I believe I've seen some damage on one of that yellow Ferrari. I think it belongs to either Cesare or Marcher in the field at the moment. It is it is Cesare. Number 99, he's missing a bit of bodywork already on the front left corner of that car. There you go. So he's been hit on the formation lap here, and that is terrible news for Cesare, who, well, let's hope he's not got actual damage through that. It's only going to be visual for him, because that is a pretty disappointing way to start his day, as they, basically just as they got underway, to be honest. A very bizarre thing to see. Anyway, the pace car will be about to pull into pit lane in a few moments' time. For the final time this season, the FP Webb Installations GT3 Championship, in association with Jack Ashton Racing, is about to get underway. Patero in control of the field, heading towards the start line. Joe Singleton right in alongside. The green flag waves, and they accelerate in towards turn one immediately. That is Knox with a good start, and he's making it free wide in towards turn one for the first time. Outside for Singleton, and it's Patero who's being sucked through a black hole through the middle of the field at the moment. He goes back to third. Inside line for Knox, and so he moves up to second, just in behind Singleton, who now leads. Then it is going to be Patero in third. Warner's up to fourth place, or at least stays fourth. Roman is in fifth. He stays there from his qualifying position earlier on, over the top of the hill at Eau Rouge and Radion. And will Singleton here be reeled in by those in behind as the slipstream takes shape on the Kebble Straight? Up the top of the hill they go, in towards Lecombe for the first time. Patero looking to regain those places. He looks to the inside, can't do it, and our pole sitter drops 2 places on that one.
What a great start by Joel Singleton, man. He got out of there like that, like he was at a McLaren rocket.
Fantastic start from
him.
Crash in the background. That is Van Servicius involved. Chad Henson was the Acura you saw going around. We'll get some replays in a few moments' time as to what's happened out of Malmedy. But it was all the battle for 6th place that's caused all this. Gaetano Cesare is now the car and the driver in 6th place, ahead of George Metakos, who's gained some places already here. There's Cesare. Good start from him, up to 6th, but benefiting from some of those spins we saw just happening in front of him there.
He definitely does have some damage, too. Look, his entire left front tire is exposed there. So doesn't seem to be horrible. Maybe it is just cosmetic, because he seems to be getting on pretty good. He's up 3 spots so far. We'll see if it affects him. Let's see if we can jump in here and back to the leader for a second. And then I'm going to see if I can find out what happened with Hansen real quick.
Yeah, we'll see. He was the Acura you saw spinning across the front of that picture in the background there out of Malmedy. And you'd imagine Van Servicius was involved as well. Here it is, Van Servicius on the inside, Henson's on the outside. Oh, and they, well, that's a bit of a weird one there. Van Servicius feeling slightly guilty, I think, decides to pull off to the side of the circuit. He lets Henson back through again in the end. But yeah, I think he's feeling a little bit guilty about that one. Rather bizarre one, because effectively they're on a straight at that point.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It's like he kind of just drifted over and hooked him. Yeah, but they were definitely going in a straight line when that happened. That is a little strange, but he did show good sportsmanship and at least let him back in front of him, but I don't know that that's going to make a huge difference at this point, since I'm sure his car was pretty tore up. He took a pretty good lick right there.
Right, this is the vision earlier on of the lead taken on by Joel Singleton. We'll go back to live pictures and I'm sure we'll see that he's under a bit of pressure here. There is Knox just in behind. Patero into third place, then Warner, then Roman in the top 5. Single file for the moment, and now the difficulty for Patero is going to arise. He's in behind Ian Knox in that big Mustang. There it is in front. That Mustang, as you can see, pretty powerful, and that means it's good in a straight line, and that means, therefore, Tommy Patero is going to struggle to make his way through too easily here in his Acura.
Yeah, well, the Acuras are still pretty strong right now, you know, as they make adjustments to them throughout the year. But the Mustang is certainly kind of built for this track, man. It's got so much straight line speed, so powerful with that big V8.
Fantastic sounding car.
No, it's one of the best. I tell you what, I went to see a Red Bull exhibition earlier this year, and they brought their GT3 Mustang. Man, a lot of that car sounded amazing.
I bet it was loud as well.
Oh, it was very loud. Look at Steve Webb back here. Let's see what he's got going on.
Here he is at 10th place, still where he started, Steve Webb, actually. Not really moved from his early position.
I wonder if he suffered any damage from that little tire warming episode.
I mean, the bizarre thing is, he's further behind the car that actually has visual damage. He doesn't seem to have any visual damage as far as I can see. There's Cesare with the visual damage, clearly not affected, as you say, probably cosmetic, really, if we're looking at that Ferrari now. But for the McLaren, I can't see any damage on it. It may be internally that it is a bit more damage than what this Ferrari is. So maybe there is something holding Steve Webb back, or maybe not. He just takes these races quite sort of slow and steady, if you like, and generally makes up places throughout the day. Certainly did that at the Red Bull Ring last week, where he actually elected to start from the very back in the rain and just make up the places from there. He has a peak to the inside of Marcher, but he doesn't go for the move that time around through turn number 1. And so he stays in 10th just for the moment as they now come down the hill in towards Eau Rouge for the 3rd time of asking.
We're looking here at George Medicos, and he's up 6 spots already. He's had a nice little run on his first 3 laps here. Good effort. Good effort out of him so far. That's fantastic. And of course, our big loser was so far has been well, I'm never going to say his name. I apologize. I apologize now to everyone who I butcher your name during this. I'm an old Southern boy from Texas, and I'm struggling with some of these European names.
I can imagine.
It's interesting.
But, meanwhile, these are the leaders, still top 5 running as they were, really, all in one long slipstreaming train. This is a good run so far from these guys. I know we're only 3 laps in, but you don't often see this in a sort of league outside of the very top echelons of GT3 racing. When you maybe if you've watched the Spa 24 Hours iRacing special event, you will have seen the very best iRacers going at it, and you can see them doing exactly this kind of thing. It's exactly what these 5 are doing right now, staying within one another's slipstream, and that is really a sign of a good league, a good strength of field here, if you like. Not necessarily in terms of the iRating terms, I mean in terms of actual driving and racecraft terms. When you're actually watching, it is a good show so far from that top 5. Cesare is meanwhile still 6th, and then Meticos is ahead of Marcher. Wonder if he's going to be under any pressure here, George Meticos, because as you say, he's a big mover forwards. Does that mean he's put himself, because of racecraft, into a position that higher than what his pace could maybe hold? Well, so far his pace is certainly holding that 7th place for the well, I can't remember how many weeks in a row now, but plenty of weeks in a row he's been doing this, working his way through the field, gaining a lot of places on the day. He's still 7th and not under too much pressure at the moment either.
No, this and according, you know, this is obviously my first time doing this Jack Ashton series at all. Talking with Jack this morning, you know, he's really big on teaching racecraft and things like that. And so what George does, you know, moving up through the field, safely every week. That's apparently exactly what Jack is hoping that these guys are going to get out of this. So now it sounds like he's taking the lessons and using them well.
Absolutely, because we'll decide a driver of the day later on in the race as well, well, after the race indeed, for us to congratulate at the end of the day. You can help us do so in YouTube chat as well if there's a driver you think who has done a great job at the end of the race, whether it's making overtakes or just a good drive defending maybe, and you're more than welcome to share your thoughts with us as always. Just under 10 minutes gone in the final race of the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship in association with Jack Ashton Racing. Singleton, Knox, Patero, 1, 2 and 3. And there's a small gap now back to Warner as well. So I'm not sure whether that reflects on the top three increasing their speed or whether Warner and Roman are now struggling to stay with those top three drivers.
Well, certainly if they start battling each other, they're going to drop back a little bit too. So, there's a point in time kind of in these races where you pick and choose when you want to fight with somebody, and if you do that at the wrong time, the front little pack can get away from you there. So it's the front three seem to have the speed though. I think it actually looks like Patero could be quicker than Knox. He just doesn't seem like he can get by him. That Mustang's got so much power that about the only shot he's going to have is trying to outbrake him, maybe coming in here at the bus stop.
A bit deep on the brakes here. I thought it was a little bit too late from Singleton. And Knox is going to have a chance to capitalise now. What a great exit out the final corner from the Mustang. And he's now going to be moving to the outside line towards turn one. He's got a small overlap, but that's not going to do much for him. He's going to switch to the inside. Singleton moves it over, but not quickly enough. Knox fires down the inside and he goes through. Tommy Patero is going to try and take both of them maybe on the inside. He's certainly taken Singleton, who really chose all the wrong lines there, in towards turn one. He thought he could get away with the racing line, but Patero now is the one on the move. He's just going to back out before Eau Rouge. They're not going to go side by side up the hill, and that's probably a good thing for everybody. Over the top they go, and now there's going to be a run from Singleton maybe with the double slipstream, or is it going to be Patero crouching behind the huge Mustang? He's going to get a huge slipstream as well in this one. Oh, side contact. Dear oh dear, Patero and Knox both going into battle now in towards the complex. On the brakes, late from Knox, there's contact. Knox goes around and he's straight into the pack. Oh my goodness, Patero's going to get the lead. He's just been knocked wide, Joe Singleton there, as Ian Knox came back onto the circuit. And so Singleton drops to fourth, Knox is down to fifth, and Tommy Patero leads the race.
Man, I tell you what, that was, you could almost see that coming. The way they were bumping going down the straightaway. He was trying to open him up some space and he didn't get it, so he opened it up for himself in the turn there. Let's back real quick.
Well, that's the big dramatic moment of the race so far, you've got to say. Knox and Patero. So Patero squeezes Knox a bit into the corner. That's all fine. Now, does Knox give Patero enough room on the outside line there or not? It will be the question. Singleton's pretty unlucky, really.
Yes.
Just got clipped there as the Mustang came back on the circuit. Not really much he or anyone else could have done about that. But the question is going to be, did Knox squeeze Patero too much at the first part of Lecombe there? Or was Patero in the wrong?
Oh, man, I think the Mustang drifted into his line. He got pretty far off line right there. He might have brought that on himself in that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the feeling I get from watching that, got to say. But you just never know how these drivers are especially going to feel about that.
Well, no, in the moment, I guarantee you, they both feel like they were right. 100%.
Well, yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I think upon review, I think you would see that that Knox might have kind of brought that on himself there.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's that nobody's going to feel particularly bad in the moment because I think you're right that they'll both feel that they were in the right through that incident there, but it can't be true, of course. Whether that's just going to be marked down as a racing incident, I'm not entirely sure. It could well be. Meanwhile, Patero now is on the defensive again from another Mustang. This time it's Matt Warner who's looking for a move in towards Lecombe, but he's not going to try it this time round, as, would you believe it, we're approaching 1/3 distance already. Javier Roman is in third place. Just in behind, there's a spin. A half spin at least from Warner. He just got on the curve on the inside there through the second part of Lecombe. And now Patero's going to have an even bigger lead as the second lap in a row. It's a Mustang with a problem, this time Matt Warner.
Amazing. Well, sometimes these Mustangs are a little hard to handle around here. I seem that he definitely was struggling a little bit with the handling there.
Yeah.
I was going to go back and take a look at that if I can locate that little piece, but I don't think.
I'm not sure it would have registered on the system,
Yeah,
to be honest.
it didn't, but I think
maybe it did.
this is it.
Yeah.
It registered as a pass, so. Oh yeah, he just lost the rear end, plain and simple.
It's good avoidance as well from the Ferrari, actually, of Javier Roman there to not hit the back of the Mustang, because he was quite close and you don't have much time to react. Just sort of jinked to the right and he got straight through there into second place. So on debut, go on.
I think we got to give Warner some credit there too. I mean, he saved that and didn't completely lose it there, and he still maintained running here in third place. So he didn't lose too much by that little mistake.
Yeah, very true. He is still in the running, and he might even have another go at Roman later on. Further down the field, Valdes Vancevicius is climbing his way back through again. Nicholas Green is the latest he's over. Oh dear, Nicholas Green's actually gone off himself. So that wasn't an overtake really, although Vancevicius has been making a lot of them. Nicholas Green this time round has gone off at Blanchimont, and so he's lost a load of positions. Petkovic, Ogley and Orchin all make overtakes as well. Let's see how it happened. There was their contact. It doesn't look like there's going to be. To be honest, it looks like this is going to be Nicholas Green on his own, is it?
Oh.
Yeah, just slides in that Porsche, and it's a pretty big bit of contact with the wall as well.
And what was strange about that was he still had plenty of track there, and he still had plenty of track to swing out, and he just, he hadn't even made it to the curbing yet. Wow, that was a tough spin there.
Yeah, you're right. Normally you see the curb involved if they're going to spin the inside at Blanchimont, but yeah, he wasn't anywhere near it there.
It was like he was trying. I'm sorry. It was like he was trying to avoid it and spun the car trying to avoid going on the curbing.
Yeah, pretty much. And also I got oh dear, as Patero goes a bit wide there. He'll go wide again if he's not careful. Yeah, he'll have to slow down slightly, and he will lose a bit of time. Yeah, it's a bit of a Porsche thing, I think, as well. At medium to high speed, that rear end can certainly come around quite easily, and I don't think this circuit is particularly well suited to the Porsche. Hard to know that, because Nicholas Green is the only one driving a Porsche in this race, and so hard to know what's down to the manufacturer in that case and what isn't, much like with Tommy Patero, because he's one of only 3 Acuras in the field. But yeah, it's a difficult car to drive at those high speed, in those high speed corners, and a slightly bizarre spin there for the Porsche. But as I say, the other cars, the other manufacturers are much more stable platforms, in my opinion, through a corner like that.
I almost feel like James is here. I was just waiting for the one line that James would have used right there. Porsche doing Porsche things.
oh right, yeah. Well, yes, it was, yeah. On that occasion. I don't think James is a big fan of the Porsche, at least driving.
No, he's definitely not. I tell you what, how times have changed, though. You look at the car manufacturers being represented here, and we've got one Porsche in the field. I mean, you go back even just a year ago, half this field would have been Porsches.
It's a very different look. Although, having said that, we're using that theory, half of the manufacturers who are on the grid here didn't even exist in iRacing a year ago either. So
yeah, that's true. That is true.
The times have changed. The Acura is involved now. The Mustang you can see in the background, and they've got a new Ferrari as well. I suppose it would have been the 488 rather than the 296 that we're using here today. But
the McLaren.
Yeah.
McLaren's new.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, the new McLaren. I forgot about that. It was, of course, the 12C, but now we've got the new version as well. Wooden Petkovic, by the way, is out of the race. Unfortunately, that's her first retirement. Peter Ferrero didn't take the start, unfortunately, but Petkovic is now out of the race in the Mustang as well, just before half distance.
Well, that's unfortunate. Boy, Taro continues to go wide. He's using all the track limits here, but I mean, that's you know, if you're not getting slowdowns, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. So he seems to be quite fast. Again, this is my first week covering this series, but man, I tell you what, he just the driving lines he uses, you can really tell he just looks all the time one of those guys that's probably fast every week.
He is a very fast driver. He is the points leader, after all. It's not all down to race positions, in fairness, but his race at Snetterton certainly helped. He actually wasn't able to qualify at that race. He got 2 off tracks over the course of the laps in qualifying, and so had to start the season from the very back end of the field, but gained a load of places, got all the bonus points, as well as a decent race finish in that one. And then from there on in, it's been not plain sailing by any means, but it has been his season to lose from there. We're still yet to see, though, who is going to take the title at the end of this season, because it's just 21 minutes away. As here comes Marcher. Oh, thought he was going to have a look down the inside there on his fellow Ferrari, but not quite. They both braked too late into the chicane. They've missed the apex. Oh, he's all over the curb there, rather ungainly style for Marcher, and he's not going to be making the pass for 6th place in towards turn 1.
No, I thought I thought he was going to really dive it in there, but they both sailed it in so deep, neither one of them could make a move there. Oppo.
He's disconnected, Marcher, hasn't he?
Did he?
He's complete. Oh no, he's back again. Wow.
Well, that's a long blink.
That was a very long blink. You don't normally see a blink that long and get away with it, actually.
Yeah, he did. He blinked again just now.
Yeah, he's in trouble. If his internet doesn't sort itself out pretty soon, he'll either be pulled from the race, which is quite unlikely. It'd have to be quite serious for that, or indeed the server's going to throw him out. And well, I think it's going to be the latter at the moment. He's dropped out again here at a very long blink. Never mind blinking; he's closing his eyes at the moment. And well, that looks like it's the end of him.
Yeah,
I've just seen him undeafen himself in the Discord, by the way. Everybody's in a driver's chat just above us in the Discord here. I've just seen him unmute himself. He's still connected to the Discord, so it might not be an overall connection problem, but he's certainly having trouble with the iRacing server, and it looks like he is gone for good.
So yeah, he pulled it into the. Oh yeah.
This is Petkovic.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Have you witnessed the new packet loss flag pop up anywhere on anybody since that release? I have not myself.
I have not either. I didn't even know it was a thing, actually.
Oh yeah, they just supposedly in this latest release, they came out with a flag that is if you've got a bad connection, it's going to throw the flag up, and if your connection doesn't fix, it's going to pull you to the pits. Like it's going to tow you automatically to the pits.
Okay, well, I'm going to get back into driving again myself soon, so maybe I'll see that in action myself at some point. But
we're bound to eventually run across it in one of these races too.
I guess so, but no, I've not seen it yet, and I've done a few races since the update now a week or two ago. So yeah, not entirely sure. Tommy Patero still leads, and if we go back to live, we'll see that his gap is probably a couple of seconds in the field. Now, yeah, there you go. 2.3 is his margin. The highest battle on the circuit. Wow. Excuse me. The highest battle on the circuit is back here for 8th position. Mitchell, Metakos and Bansavicius all fighting away. And, well, Bansavicius is certainly the favourite in all of this because he's been roaring through the field ever since the incident. Although I've got to say, he is missing his front bumper, which I think has happened after the incident. I've no idea where it has happened, and it's probably going to be impossible to find. But he is missing that front end. It doesn't seem to be holding him back too much for the moment. Here comes Metakos on the way towards Lecombe as Mitchell weaves around all over the place to try and just defend this one right now. He did so in towards turn 1. He's doing it again now in towards Lecombe. Here comes Metakos. Late on the brakes on the outside line. Oh, even later though from Mitchell. He holds the inside line and he holds 8th place.
That was a good defensive drive right there by Mitchell. He stayed on the proper line to defend, and then he had a nice late braking moment. Oh, did they just touch?
Contact.
Or was that?
There was. I'm pretty sure that was contact. Vancevicius and Metakos, and round the outside, Vancevicius is going to go through to 9th place. He was just poking down the inside of Metakos there, and it did certainly look like, to me anyway, that there was contact there.
I couldn't tell if it was contact or if he got his car up on the curbing a little bit, which made it look like that. But either way, it was a nice pass. See what Metakos thinks of that. Oh!
Well, that's what he makes of it. Fires straight back down the inside again. I'm having that position back, thank you. And round the outside through the next part of the chicane. He's going to go wide into the gravel slightly. And Vancevicius gets the position back all over again. So Metakos clearly wanting to earn that place back immediately, but not quite able to do it. And now you'd imagine the Mercedes is going to get its head down and focus on forwards.
Yeah, and you would think where they're at on the track, he should be able to pull away a little bit with that Mercedes power, although missing part of that front end like that's probably going to hurt his aero pretty bad. Let's see if Metakos here decides to try to bring it in here with a extremely late break and get this position back. Nah, he thought better of that, which is probably wise. But all this has given Mitchell the opportunity to get a little bit ahead. Almost a second he's pulled away now. So
yeah,
I think we got some action back over here. Let's take a look real quick.
Now, what's been going on back here for Eric Orchin? He's in behind one of the Porsches, late on the brakes. Oh, he's come through and hit the back of the Porsche and spun himself around. That is Eric Orchin going for a spin. And, well, he's going to get back underway again after recovering. He is now in 15th. But, yeah, Eric Orchin, unfortunately, just hitting the back. I thought it was Nicholas Green. Didn't want to say, but I guess it's got to be, hasn't it, if it's one of the Porsches. And so Orchin, goes for a spin. Meanwhile, Mitchell, bit wide there. Vancevicius is going to just go for the cutback now through Malmedy. And now on towards the hairpin. Oh, he's just going to have to duck back to the outside again towards Bruxelles. Long way round here, but if you can hold it, you'll be on the inside for No Name. Through goes the McLaren on the inside. That's all fine, but he's got to stay alongside for the next corner, and he can't do it. Look at that from behind as well. Metakos just looking for his way through as well as they go through No Name corner. He gets a decent run, actually, in towards Pouron. He's not going to get through, and Mitchell defends well on lap 11.
I'll tell you, this is a good battle right here. Doesn't matter what position it's for. This is a fantastic little battle they got going on back here. As James would say, they're having a right little ding-dong.
They are having a ding-dong right now, these three. And actually earlier, Wolford was catching as a result. He's not quite doing that anymore. You can see the Ferrari in the background just lurking. I don't think he's as quick as these guys, but when they fight, he certainly is, because they're not using the correct lines, as it were. And so the more they fight, the more that the Ferrari is going to be brought into play. But you just wonder whether there is long enough left for him to really play a role in this. There is Ben Mitchell, just in the 8th position at the moment, getting towards late Sunday evening now over in Australia and New Zealand, which is the region he's from. Not sure which of those regions he's actually from, but he'll be getting towards late evening there now, you would imagine, towards midnight, as we go back to the leaders again. Javier Martin-Roman in 2nd place, just ahead of Matt Warner in the Mustang. Out for 2nd place, which has been going on for a while now, but it is still at the race lead, at least going to Tommy Patera, who's continuing to stretch out an even bigger margin.
He is almost up to, well, it's 2.5 seconds. I'll say almost up to 3. But and earlier you were talking about Wolford here catching these guys. While we were watching that battle, that three-way battle, I noticed in the background that he came out of a turn and had a big loose rear end, and I think that dropped him off about a second right there. I think that's where he lost contact with you guys. Oh, here we go.
Look at this. Vancevicius again. Outside line of Mitchell, and he's going to go right round. Oh, there's contact. Well, how they both managed to keep it on the straight and narrow after the contact, I'm not really sure. But Mitchell again holds on to the place. Very narrow in towards Malmedy, though. And they're going to be side by side in the hairpin for the second lap in a row. Here comes the Mercedes again. But he's not quite far enough alongside this time. And so he's just going to have to tuck into line and hope that Metikos hasn't got his nose alongside, and he hasn't. So Van Servicius at least hangs on to ninth place. It's a good battle between these two, but how neither of them spun around after side-to-side contact like that, I'm not really sure.
Especially where they hit. You know, it was like right in the spot that should have spun him. Yeah, that was that was interesting. Very entertaining battle back here. It really is. Look, here we go again.
It is. It's the same story, but this time Vancevic is giving it more of a go around the outside. Now then, inside second partner, no. He goes around the outside, Mitchell, and he holds on to that position. Good defence again from Ben Mitchell. This is a real good drive. You can see the gap extending to the top 7 as a result of all of this, but that doesn't matter. He was never going to catch them anyway. He might as well try for all he's worth to hold on to 8th place. He's still got 11 and a half minutes to go, which feels like a long time for him to hold on here, but it is still possible. He certainly can get to the end in 8th place if he continues defending how he is right now.
He is definitely in a defensive mode at this point. He is being attacked all over the place.
Towards the final chicane, and Anders Van Servicius gets into the slipstream of Mitchell here in towards turn number 1. 11 minutes now to go. 5 or 6 laps left for the Mercedes to do this. Oh, Mitchell's broken way too late there. He was defending on the inside line. His braking marker's all out of shape, and he's off. It's off into the gravel through turn 1 after a great defence. It's all unravelled. Not only has he lost 8th place, but he's lost his top 10 as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's a prime example of you drive somebody hard and you can force them to make a mistake, and that's just what happened right there.
Getting in the mirrors, weaving around and trying to put the driver off in front is exactly what happened. And Mitchell now is down to 11th. Can he at least rescue a top 10 here will be the next question. He's flashing his lights. He'll be feeling hyped up now to regain some of those places he just lost.
Yeah, you can believe right now he's driving really aggressive because I'm sure he's extremely frustrated with himself for missing those brake markers like that. And yeah, I'm sure he is fired up in there right now. Well, let's give him a second to settle down. Let's go back up here and see if got a little battle here for second, but they just seem to kind of stay about that half second apart or so and not really closing on each other at all.
It is staying very much at this distance for now between Roman and Warner. Just trying to work out whether there's going to be 4 or 5 laps to go, because Tommy Patero is just coming up to the line right now, and it's pretty close to whichever one it's going to be here. Here he is through the final corner. I reckon we could have another 5 yet, although, as I say, very, very close over the line. We'll see what the lap times are going to be. Very, very close indeed for Tommy Patero closing out this season. Is he going to close it out with a win? In terms of actual race points, he's going to score quite a lot more than Ian Knox, who's down in 5th, obviously a lot more than Chad Henson, who we saw have a crash earlier on. He's down in 17th. Van Servicius had an issue earlier with Henson, so they both dropped down, and so Patero will gain race points on then Nicholas Green as well. We've seen have problems. Matt Warner's the only one who's staying close, but he starts the day 6th place at 20 points behind. So we'll see what the championship standings are at the end, and Jack will come and tell us who indeed is the champion at the end of our broadcast here this afternoon. But it's looking good for Tommy Patero, you'd have to say. He's at least maximising what he can get from the race points, which is the part he has control over.
Yes, he's definitely maximizing that. He's got himself in a good situation there. Do you have any thoughts so far on who you might be thinking for driver of the race at this point?
Got a couple of nominations, I think. I'm not going to give them to the end, just so we can, keep the
suspense,
keep the surprise. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've still got 8 more minutes, so anyone else can still get into the fold. But I think there's a couple of names, and we'll bat them about between ourselves and come up with one name between the two of us before we can sign off here this afternoon. As I just saw in the background, Ben Mitchell regaining that 11th place, 10th place over CJ Walford. Good pass from Mitchell and a good recovery as well. Sometimes when you have an incident like what Mitchell did, especially when it's a solo mistake and you're frustrated with yourself, you can really spiral and snowball into something even worse. But Mitchell has picked himself up very quickly, very efficiently, and he's back into the top 10 again.
Yeah, he did recover. I think it seemed like he sat back there for a half a lap to a lap and just, kind of settled back in, and we should see his lap times, because his last lap was, like 3 seconds off of what the rest of the field around him is running. So he at this point he's just trying to settle back in. We'll see if he picks it back up. Speaking of that, who has the fast lap of the race? So
I don't have that in front of me.
Me either.
To be honest. So we'll have to.
I usually do.
That's a mystery. Oh, sorry, Wolford's just gone off. He was running 11th. Sorry, I was just looking away while we were discussing fast laps. Wolford has gone off the circuit, right in behind Mitchell. Now this is earlier on as he passed Ben Mitchell. There's the incident for Mitchell. That's how a reminder of how he went off in the first place there in the McLaren. So Wolford got through there, and this is a little bit earlier as well when Mitchell was giving him a go. I didn't know this had happened. Mitchell went down the inside, but Wolford actually must have got back through again somehow, actually, because this is not the pass that we saw Mitchell make. He made it again from what we saw.
This is.
Yeah, it's going to be just ahead.
Yeah, this didn't really register. This was just okay. Yeah, that was all I could get of that. Not really sure what happened there. He was just kind of looked like he was just kind of on the edge of the track there. I don't know.
Just
Interesting.
A spin maybe from the gravel to the inside. But,
well, Lord knows I've done that a couple times here.
Yeah, it's a more difficult corner now than what it used to be, that turn, because there is gravel on the outside of the turn, a lot closer to the exit than there was before. They've made a lot of improvements to Spa, I've got to say, in the last 5 years or so, especially as far as enforcing the track limits goes. Used to be an absolute joke around here, to be honest with you, but it is way better now. Look at this corner as an example. No-name corner, the gravel brought right to the edge of the racetrack as it's supposed to be. Some corners, of course, that leaves a bit to be desired, like the Pouhon turn, or double gauche, I think it's called now. There is the left-hander. I wish they'd just at least bring the gravel to the edge of the road there. Have runoff on the very outside next to the wall, so people don't go flying into the wall, I suppose, or barrel rolling over the barriers. But you could at least bring the gravel up, like you see here as well. And another example through the chicane, brought right up to the curbing quite nicely from the chicane here again as well. Savalo, and then that corner we were talking about, bringing the gravel right up, and as you say, it does make that corner a lot more difficult. If you get a bit too wide, bit into the gravel, then you spin to the inside, as we just saw.
Yeah, that's they have made a lot of changes for the positive, as far as making some of these runoff areas a little tougher. Because you used to, in some of those spots, you had so much space, that you just extend the track limit a little bit, and it didn't even really, affect you.
Yeah. It was a bit of a disappointing thing to see from time to time. Well, just under 4 minutes to go. We're either on the penultimate lap or the third last lap of the season. It's still a bit unclear because of how close it is that Tommy Patera is running this one for the moment. But there he is, leading this race. 4 seconds now his advantage. He's only extending his advantage further out front in the field. Yeah,
he's, he has nobody challenging him. He's just out there putting down some nice consistent laps right now, and they are currently the fastest laps on the track.
So another great drive. He's done this in the past, and he'll no doubt do it in the future as well. Tommy Patera, he really set that marker down when he drove through the field expertly at the Snetterton round, the opening round of the season. While it wasn't a show of pace like we're seeing here today, it was a show in overtaking prowess that he's been able to use this season to great use. And at least at the end of the race points being added up, he will be the championship leader. Whether he'll be the championship winner at the very end still remains to be seen. No battles really out on the circuit for us to enjoy. We'll just enjoy this last lap really with Tommy Patera as he brings home another race victory. We'll see indeed if the white flag is indeed going to be waving this time round, because as I mentioned before, it is going to be
close.
Pretty close. Very close. So they've been doing, they were doing about 2:20 in qualifying, but we're not in qualifying anymore. Having said that, they will be doing
still running. He's still running 2:20s.
Yeah. So the line's going to be crossed here. 2:21 to go. Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
It could be either way. The checker
flag will show up on your screen when it should be coming out, but it's going to be really close.
Well, isn't it funny how it always works out like that? It's like within a split second of being one or the other. It's funny how it always works out like that.
Well, hopefully everybody's fueled for 18 laps just in case,
right?
And not just 17. Otherwise, we could be. You're not going to save a lap of fuel around a circuit of 7 kilometres. It's a very, very long way around this circuit, indeed. That's still to come this afternoon, by the way. Before we sign off, we'll have a chat with, and indeed we'll decide our driver of the day. Get your votes in YouTube chat if you want to influence our decision and put your own vote in for driver of the day this afternoon. We'll decide on that, and we'll chat to them. Also chat to Steve Webb, of course, has been behind the sponsorship for this series. This is the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship after all. And we'll also chat to Jack Ashton to sign off as well at the end of another great season here in in this league. As we go back to see Nicholas Green. Oh, wow. A big crash at Pouon there for him.
Yeah, I saw that pop up in there, and it didn't even show that as a crash. It just showed it as an off track. In my book, that's a crash.
It certainly is.
See, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a checkered flag or not. I really don't know. I don't think.
Oh, hello. That was quite a slide. Well, we'll find. I mean, I'm going to say that we are going to get an extra lap. I didn't see any white flag waving around. Now, that doesn't always mean that that means that the checker flag won't come next time round. I have seen the checker flag wave without a white one before.
Yes.
Maybe that won't happen anymore, but we will see. I'm going to say, though, that this is going to go on one more, and Tony Patero is going to have some even more time to soak up this win and enjoy it, and he absolutely deserves to. 4.5 seconds is his advantage. With just about 10 seconds to go, I think we are going to get another lap in this race. It's going to be one more to go here for Tony Patero as he swings wide through the final corner to get the run on to the home straight. He's weaving around like he's won the race, and he hasn't. He's got one more to do. Don't celebrate too soon, Tommy Patero. You've got one more lap to do.
That's pretty funny. I've actually seen that happen a lot here at Spa. You know, that's it's actually one of the tracks where you don't get the white flag, but then the checker comes out.
Yep.
There was an old boy in NASCAR years ago who thought he had won the race, and he pulled off into the pits on what would have been the final lap. He thought he had just won the race, and he ended up losing.
Yikes.
Yeah,
well,
that would be rough.
Thankfully, Patero does realise that he's got an extra lap to do, even though he was weaving over the line there. I think in a way that it looked to me anyway like he was celebrating. Maybe he wasn't, but anyway, he was certainly weaving himself over the line, and he's got another lap to do before this race is complete. He's actually got us an extra lap to this race because of his speed, really.
Yes.
If he had been any slower, even a second slower over the course of the race, he would have ended the race there and then. But it's a testament to his speed that we're still going here in the in this one for an 18th lap to end the season, and a great way to finish the season here at Spa as well, with a good final round.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he certainly, I don't know that, you know, that it's official he's going to be the champion or whatever, but this is certainly a quite impressive cap he put onto this season. Whether he is or isn't the champion, this is quite an impressive way to close out the season. Once he got out front, he was gone. No, we don't know yet, but I'm just saying, if it is, he certainly, either way, he made a statement in this last race, either way.
Absolutely. We'll find out a little bit later on. Stay with us to find out who the champion is going to be, because we do have points added after the race, let's not forget, in bonuses. So it's not all down to the race points, but as far as those go, Tommy Patero has picked up the maximum he possibly could here from Spa. Out of the final corner and the final round of the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship is going to go to him. Tommy Patero flashes the lights as he comes across the line, and he celebrates this victory, as he probably has been for the last couple of laps. 4.5 seconds ahead of Javier Martí-Roman, who finishes second on debut, by the way, with Matt Warner on the podium as well. A great way to end the season with a fantastic performance from those podium drivers. Got to say, also a shout out to Roman, who finishes second on debut, which is not an easy thing to achieve at all.
No, not at all. And he had a great looking car. That Ferrari, it was a good looking Ferrari, and there's some nice liveries in this little race too. I'm a livery guy.
Still plenty.
Yeah, there's still
to cross the line. Pansavicius just going through picture there, made up quite a lot of places over the course of the day as well, up to 8th place, even though it was an incident that put him down towards the back. He did a lot of overtaking afterwards. Mitchell getting his top 10, which is a good drive from him in the end, even if he did send himself off at turn 1 earlier. Trey Lambrecht still trying to get past Francorchamps for 13th place, but he's just going to run out of time. He will be a little bit disappointed to run out of time. There's Nicholas Green, who would be pleased just to get to the end of this one. His Porsche's pretty battered.
Yes.
You can see damage all around. And he'll finish just ahead of Henson, who'll be disappointed. Of course, he had that crash on lap 1.
I believe this is our last car actually still running on the track, I believe.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is Carl Cookson. The 3 behind him have all retired. Marcha had a disconnection. Petkovic retired early on, just pulled into pit lane, and that was that for him. And Ferraro didn't start the race, even though he was entered into the practice session a little bit earlier on. So that is that. Carl Cookson crosses the line, and indeed, with that, finishes the competitive racing this season as well. A great way to end here at Spa in the GT3s, won by Tommy Patero. Javier Roman on debut finishes second ahead of Matt Warner, who joins him on the podium. Joel Singleton was part of that leading battle at one stage as well, but dropped to 4th. I reckon he had a bit of damage actually after the contact with Ian Knox, who finished just in behind him. Gaetano Cesare was another 10 seconds back. He managed to hold off Steve Webb, who managed to hold off Pausas Fansavicius in turn. George Metikos and Ben Mitchell ran out the top 10 with Andrew Ogley just outside of it. CJ Wolfer was just over a minute off the lead, with Eric Orton, Trey Lambrecht and Nicholas Green rounding out the top 15. Chad Henson and Carl Cookson at least finished the race. Those 3 at the bottom did not, unfortunately, for them. Archer, Petkovic and Ferraro, of course. So, time to decide our driver of the day, Jim. Since you're new to the series, I'll go first. And if you want to add any names to my lists, then you are more than welcome to. I'm going to go for, as a 2 names, short list to start with. First of all, Javier Roman. In second place, because he is doing his first race in this series today, and at least this season, his first race. And he put in a fantastic performance, considering it was his debut. And second name I'm going to go for is Pausas Fansavicius, I think, because he recovered from his incident, even though he did have an incident that I think he believes was he was responsible for, actually. He recovered very well and managed to get up to 8th place. Do you have any extra names to add to that short list?
Well, actually, yeah, I'm going to throw Ben Mitchell in there. He had a great defensive drive for a good portion of the race. He gained more spots than anybody else in the race. He's up 5 from where he started. He did have that off-track incident where he missed his braking marker, but overall, good drive from him, up 5 spots, recovered to get his top 10. So I would say Ben Mitchell would be on my list. And, I know this is obvious. Other choice would be Barrow, only because he goes in as the championship leader and drives a perfect race, and made no mistakes. So I got to give credit for that. There was obviously pressure to win a championship on him, and he delivered a perfect race and blistering lap time. The last lap of the race was his fastest lap of the race. So for those reasons, that would be my 2 that I would throw.
That is two good picks as well. I'd certainly go along with Ben Mitchell because of that defence that we saw from him at a stage in the race. So we know Tommy Patero. We've spoken about him a lot from the lead of the race. Because he's had the glory winning the race, I'm going to rule out Patero because he's had a lot of the glory this afternoon already.
Sure.
And so we'll let him enjoy that, and he might even win a championship as well. Let's not forget.
He might, yeah.
So we'll leave him to that. I think I'm going to go this time around for the man who finished in second place, having Martin Roman. I think the fact he's come into this series right at the very end of the season, let's not forget. It's not like he's making his debut sort of halfway through a season when everybody else is not quite up to speed yet. Everybody else is absolutely sort of at one with their car now. They've been driving it throughout the entire month of March. And he's gotten straight into this series, straight on the pace, and straight into second position, which I think is a fantastic job from him. So I think I'm going to give the driver of the day to Javier Martin Roman on this occasion. Unfortunately, I don't think he is in a Discord chat to actually drag in for a chat ourselves here.
He's so new he doesn't know to be there.
Exactly, yeah. He is actually in the Discord, but he's not in that chat. So we might as well pull someone else in for a bit of a chat. And since you suggested Ben Mitchell, I'm going to pull him in for a chat just to talk to us a little bit about that race and about that defence that we saw from him. I just need to figure out how I can do this. Here we go. I'll be able to do it now. Hopefully, bring him in. Here we go. Ben, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Just he's left. He didn't want to be here. Well, okay, fine. Maybe we won't get to chat to him at the end. Let's try and bring in Steve Webb instead. See if he can be a bit more amenable to chatting with us here at the end of the season. Steve, welcome in.
Talk to us. Hey, Steve.
No.
I'm here.
Hopefully, hopefully Steve won't leave us. Welcome in, Steve. Congratulations on getting to the end of a great season. Let's chat about your racing first of all out there on the circuit. First of all, here this afternoon at Spa. It's another top 10 run for you and another consistent run inside the top 10. Tell us how you're feeling out there at Spa this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, start of the race was a little bit, just don't do anything rash and see where I end up. And then I had one move, I can't remember now. Took somebody on the inside, and from there I was starting to catch, but then there was a crash and I had to take an off track to avoid it, and I just lost so much time, couldn't get it back. But overall, superb. And it's one of them sort of circuits because we're on a fixed setup. The tyres really came into it towards the end, and you just got to manage it. But really, really enjoyable. Really enjoyable.
Yeah, so, as always in this series. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No, so Steve, I'm going to ask you something. I'm a new guy here, so
yeah, sure.
And I know you're basically the series sponsor, but so pre-race on the warm-up lap, it looked like you were weaving a little bit to warm up your tires, and actually had a
yes,
actually had a little contact with who was it? I don't know the guy as well.
Was it Ben? No, it wasn't Ben.
Medicos, maybe? No, it wasn't. It was
I think it's got Cesare, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Cesare,
possibly. Yeah.
So,
but we had a little bit of a chat.
So I had to bring that up since we happened to have the camera on you at that point in time. So.
Yep, no, that's fair enough. I was just weaving, and I didn't get any notification from the crew chief that there was somebody on me outside, and as I was sort of weaving, we just had a slight contact, but
didn't mess your car up though. You were okay. It didn't.
No, it was absolutely fine. No, I got a little bit of front aero damage, but nothing too severe, basically.
It seems that you both got away with it, which is the main thing at the end. Just one last on the driving. How would you assess this season as a driver as a whole? You've been here throughout the season now for the 5 rounds. How do you think it's been for yourself?
I think overall could have been slightly better because I've had 1 or 2 where I've been collected But other than that, I think the series as a whole has been extremely well. It's been well attended, apart from the wet one last week. Yeah. And just look forward to doing many, many more with Jack and yourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been great to be here for the season, and of course we've got to ask you about the behind the scenes stuff as well. Tell us a little bit about that, how it came about, and what that means for this season as well.
Well, it was I took part in the Mazda sort of thing that Jack put up, and I thought Mazda's not my thing. Let's do a GT3. So I approached Jack and said, look, I'm willing to sponsor a series. Would you be happy to host it along with yourselves as commentators? And yeah, he replied, not a problem. So we have got trophies available for people as well. And it was just nice to be able to put a series up.
So
And
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What a gap.
no, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that's fantastic, man. That you're doing that kind of stuff. It's people like you that that make these leagues, great. I mean, these guys get to come in here and race and see it broadcast and a trophy. That's all because of sponsors like you, people that are willing to step up.
There is something very special happening towards the end of the year, but I'm not going to say too much at the moment.
Wow, that is.
But it will involve tinsel and reindeer antlers and various things. But there's something, quite special coming up towards the end of the year, which I'm in negotiations with now. And it's also, if you've noticed on the car, I'm running the BMMC logo. So what that represents, it's the British Marshals Association, basically, and it's a club of marshals. So just in the southeast region of England, we have 585 registered marshals at the last count. And it just allows me as well, as a track marshal, to be able to go out on track. And when the races are broadcast, people can actually take notice of, oh yeah, there is a group of marshals that are racing. And it's just about getting marshalling to the forefront, not only of real life racing, but sim racing as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
For anybody interested, by the way, listening in, the link for joining up as a marshal indeed is in our YouTube chat and has been, our description, and has been throughout the season as well. So if you are interested in joining Steve and all the others, then you certainly can do. A big thanks to you, Steve, for coming to chat to us here at the end of this race and for everything that you've done for the series in March this year. As I say, congratulations on your drive this afternoon again, and we hope to see you again in another series very soon.
You certainly will, and thank you for your time and your efforts that you've put into the broadcasting, because it's been absolutely brilliant. Oh, and just on a quick note, if I may, I'd just like to wish James's son all the best today at Santa Pod with his, because I've actually sponsored his son as well.
Oh,
very
that's
nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well,
that's really cool. Yeah, I tell you what, he's braver than I am. I don't want to get on one of those bikes.
Well, when I looked at it, it scared the living daylights out of me. I've got to be honest, because I'm not a bike person.
Yeah, no, I'll stick to four wheels on the ground.
Yeah.
It's a bit safer.
Same here. Thanks for it, Steve. As I say, we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Steve Webb there chatting to us at the end of the final round of this championship here at Spa, the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship. One more thing to attend to, and that's to chat to Jack Ashton, as we always do at the end of these seasons. Welcome in, Jack. Good to have you joining us on the broadcast. Let's chat first of all about the racing this season that you've seen. How have you seen it, both not only this afternoon, but also throughout the other four races this season?
Yeah, I thought it's been a really good season. Quick month of racing, and it's gone so quickly. I thought it was going to last longer than this, but for sure it's been a really good season, and everyone's done a really good job. I think improvements from pretty much most of the grid throughout the whole season. So it's really, really good to see. And to end on a really good, clean race in my eyes. Obviously a couple of little bangs here and there, but I think we had a really great race throughout today. So I think a round of applause for absolutely everybody that's joined. And yeah, I can't thank Steve enough as well for everything he's done to put on this show for everybody as well, and the community. And yeah, really looking forward to maybe what we can do in the future as well. And obviously a little mention of that little something special in the later on in the year from Steve that he mentioned too, which we'll look forward to as well. But yeah, it's been really good, really good.
Teasing us all at the end of that interview there, Steve. But there we go. That's his job, I suppose. Are you able to tell us any more information and indeed who has won this championship, or is that going to be totted up later on?
I'm pretty confident. I've tried to add up the points as best I can, but I'm pretty confident Tommy has won the championship. With a demanding lead in the end, with points that won the championship. I've given out the points for driver of the races for today, and I don't think it affects the standings as of. So Tommy is our champion. I think we can confirm.
Well, congratulations to him. I suspected it might be, considering the last race that he's had here this afternoon because of his drive at Spa, but you never know. Just wanted to check in first of all. Before we sign off, Jack, is there anybody else you'd like to thank, shout out to, anything else before we let you go and we end off this afternoon?
Yeah, we just final shout outs to you guys. It's a fantastic job throughout this season. Really, really good. I think everybody's really enjoyed watching the racing back. And I think it's made it that nice little extra touch. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, goes without saying, a huge thanks to Steve for this season and maybe future events too. So yeah, massive thanks to everybody involved.
Big thanks to you as well, Jack, for putting on all the servers, all the races this month, and yeah, as I say, hopefully we'll see you again very soon.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks very much. That's Jack Ashton, the league runner here, of course, of SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship in association with Jack Ashton Racing. That's just about going to do it for us here this afternoon. It's been great to be here for this championship, and indeed the final round as well. Jim, a great way to end the season, I think, here at Spa.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a really good race. We had a lot of nice mid-pack battles too, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I hope that you all enjoyed it at home as well. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Jim Cunningham. James Parfitt joined us throughout the earlier point of the season, of course, but as we've heard, is away on other duties this afternoon, and so good luck to them as well. We'll see you, of course, again in one of these leagues very, very soon. Make sure you subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel for all the other racing that goes on here across the week. There's plenty to go and have a look at and check out, including even later on this afternoon and tonight here on Sunday night. So make sure you check all that out. But from all of us here from Spa, it's goodbye for now.
Go.